Good morning, this is Peter. I'm going to be your instructor for our adventures in JavaScript, which this course code is CSD 2214. Now we teach a number of courses in JavaScript and they all basically are about JavaScript, so they're the same thing, but some of them have emphasis on one part or another. My point is I might be showing you material that has other course codes like MAD 6135 or CSD 3313, because I teach all of those, but it's all JavaScript, so don't get thrown by that. Now, a couple of things here I'd like to call your attention to. If you look at our nice Moodle page, there's a bunch of good stuff there we're going to be referring to. So there's the news forum, which you should pay attention to every day. There might be announcements there about changes in dates of tests or so on. Course outline we're going to look at in today's class, as well as evaluation timetable. Missed tests and assignments, I think you know about from now. Don't miss any tests or assignments. There's some good stuff here in learning materials. I'll be adding to that as we go along. For right now, there is your PowerPoint. And there is a link to a Google Docs document, which is going to be our lecture notes. And I'll try and capture everything I say using voice to text, because sometimes you don't hear too well, especially over the network, so you can read it and hear it and go back and review it later. So there's going to be our learning outcomes for today's class, setting up our development environment and writing some JavaScript application code. We'll look at some simple coding formulations. We're going to start to look at the project, so we'll have a sense of where we're going with that. We will do assignment 1 in class today, which will be setting up the environment, which will be Node.js and Visual Studio Code. So that's going to be our editor, and that's going to be one of the environments we run JavaScript in. We're also going to be working with a tool called LaTeX, and your project is going to require you to do some stuff with LaTeX, and it's also a very good job skill. Everything I teach you is based on things I see employers are asking for in job ads. And so anyway, keep your eye on that. That's going to be important. And there's a course textbook. There's a PDF version of the textbook. So that's something we're going to be referring to a lot. That's there for you to use with your CESTAR credentials. You can log in and see that. So what I'd like you to do right now, if you go over here to your class lecture notes, your first activity, which is assignment 1, which maybe you want to get started on while you're waiting for the class to begin, is setting up our development environment. So I want you to go here to nodejs.org and then download. And I guess most of our users are on Mac or Windows. I guess we might have a couple of Linux users, so go with whatever works for you. So download the installer. Now what Node is, come to class and we'll talk about that, but I'd like you to go and install Node.js for your environment. Briefly, in this class talking about JavaScript, there's 2 primary ways we use JavaScript. We can use it in the browser and we can use it directly at the command line. And for learning purposes, it's much easier to work at the command line, right? Because if I'm going to teach you to write a program with a for loop, it's easier to do that in a text editor than to kind of, I mean, you could put the JavaScript in an HTML page and run it, but for 90% of our sort of basic skills learning, it's going to be at the command line, so you need Node.js for that. And the other thing you're going to be doing right here is, now I love Visual Studio Code, and the reason why I love it, well, there's a bunch of reasons. Number 1, a lot of employers are asking for it these days, and I think it's the good editor to work with. It has a beautiful visual debugger we're going to be leaning into very heavily to understand how this stuff works. Now, if you don't want to use that, if you want to use Eclipse or Aptana Studio or Sublime or Notepad, okay, whatever works for you, go and do it. But I will be demonstrating using Visual Studio Code. So once again, I'd like you to go and download for your environment and have that ready to go. And if you have a chance to do that while you're waiting for our class to start, I think it'll take about 2 or 3 minutes for each of those. or else, get it done later today. I know some people in different areas, your internet might be, some people say during the day or during the night or something, it's not available, or I can only download stuff in the night because that's when my internet, for capacity is there for downloading stuff. Well, okay, you manage yourself. If I can help you, let me know. But that's the two stuff I need you to do for assignment 1. And we have 10 assignments. We'll look at our evaluation schedule, but that's what we're going to be doing today. So anyway, I will see you in class in about 40 minutes. And I'm going to have a lot of fun with this class. I love teaching JavaScript. It's a very cool language, very light and flexible, and I think it's great. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with it. So let's get to work.